So, the silly season is finally starting to gain its final form, and after De Vries signed with Alphatauri, it's evident that he'll take Gasly's place, and the Frenchman will probably go to a top performing team such as Alpine in the following period. Now, this has been widely talked about and discussed in the paddock, and now finally both of these drivers got what they were after. But what does this mean for the rest of the paddock? And is there any chance that Alpine isn't considering Gasly but other drivers? Stick around with us to find out more. Now, Nyck De Vries had a phenomenal debut in Williams, and thanks to that, he was able to secure himself a spot in F1 from 2023 and beyond. With that being said, multiple teams were interested in his services, but it seems like the potential of Alphatauri and the possible chance that he'll drive for the senior team in Red Bull after Perez's contract expires is something that was crucial for De Vries to give his signature to the Italian team. Rumours about his signing with Alphatauri were present a couple of weeks ago when he was seen in Austria with Helmut Marko, who's the head of Red Bull's junior program. It's evident that Alphatauri recognised the talent in De Vries, and the fact that he comes from the Mercedes Academy and won the F2 and Formula E championships under their brand, and yet the team didn't bother to keep him, is alluding to the fact that De Vries isn't really involved in Mercedes' plans for the future. Williams was another team that was heavily favoured for his signature, especially because De Vries' debut in Monza was with them. When Latifi and Williams agreed to part ways, and he thought that the next announcement that will come from the team will be about De Vries. However, it seems like Williams will have to fill in the vacant seat with a rookie driver, such as Logan Sargent from F2, if he can be eligible for a license at the end of the F2 season. So where does this leave Gasly? The Frenchman was under a contract for the 2023 season with Alphatauri, but Helmut Marko said on multiple occasions that he's free to leave the team and achieve his dream, which would be performing in a top performing team, once they find a suitable substitution for the Frenchman. It's obvious that Gasly was very valuable to Alphatauri, and what he was able to do in 2020 and 2021 is something that not many drivers could, as he became the second driver from Toro Rosso Alphatauri to win a race for the team after Vettel in 2008. Still, Marko acknowledged that Gasly's dream would be to race for a French team, and just so it happens that Alpine's vacant spot that was left by Alonso is still up for taking. According to Simon Lazenby, who's a journalist in F1, Gasly's deal with Alpine is just a formality at this point, even though he and Ocon don't have the best of partnerships at the moment due to some old beef when it comes to their karting days. He said, "It looks likely, and I say that in inverted commas, that we're going to have an all-French lineup next year. Esteban Ocon with his good friend Pierre Gasly. That could provide some fireworks because, as we know, they aren't particularly bosom buddies." Paul Di Resta, who's a former F1 driver and is currently an analyst in Sky F1, said that the management in Alpine will have to be very careful when it comes to signing Gasly. As he elaborated, "There's a couple of ways of looking at it. It's going to be fireworks. Management level will have to put some definite rules in how they're going to go about it. But equally, on the other side of that, the two of them will have to lift their game because they will want to prove against each other who is the best and the next French driver who can take their chance and lead the team to a world title." Still, Gasly remains conservative when it comes to his future, as he spoke about this during Thursday's press conference, adding, "I would expect, obviously everyone knows the ongoing conversation and discussion, but from my side, I think hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks we should have a clear answer on my future. But so far, nothing has changed, and when there will be something confirmed on my future, I'm sure you guys will know about it." Gasly was supposed to be replaced by Colton Herta, but the FIA didn't break its own rules and didn't grant Herta the super license that he ultimately needs in order to race in F1. This is when we all thought that Gasly will remain in the toxic environment in Red Bull, more precisely Alphatauri, since the chances of us seeing him in Red Bull again are literally zero. After he had his chance in 2019 with 13 races with the team, Red Bull decided that he isn't mature enough, and the fact that he was lapped by Verstappen in Hungary that year just proved to him that Gasly is yet to mature in order to fill the shoes of Verstappen or any other Red Bull driver in general. Still, after Gasly's amazing performance in Alphatauri in 2020 and 2021, Red Bull didn't want to bring him back and give him another chance, even when they decided to sack Albon and bring Perez in his place. We've seen that Perez has proved as probably the best number 2 driver in Red Bull so far, up to the point where he had championship aspirations and wanted to battle directly with Verstappen early in 2022, but had a decent slump in his form and will have to satisfy with P2 as the best possible result in 2022. Nevertheless, Gasly spoke about his future earlier this season, prior to all of the summer break and the silly season unwinding down as they did, saying that with all due respect to Alphatauri, he's now ready for a bigger challenge and is ready to perform in a team that could bring him wins and podiums. At the moment, this is out of my control. These guys are giving my first win in F1 and my first chance in Formula 1. Doesn't mean I'm going to stay there all my life because my ambitions in Formula 1 are to fight at the front, and that's what I want. It's been 5 years at Alphatauri. We'll see if I do another year there, but at the moment that's what's planned. If this is what happened, I'll give my 110% to this team. There are a couple of things that need to be sorted out first before we talk more about this situation. In my situation, there are only positives. We'll see what happens in the next few weeks, finished Gasly. Alphatauri has placed its trust in Yuki Tsunoda, and although the Japanese driver hasn't been as reliable in his first season on the team, we've seen some improvements in 2022. However, it's worth noting that the car itself has regressed from the previous season, and that's why they're currently P9, equalled in points with Haas and battling with Aston Martin for the P7 spot. When talking about Yuki's potential, Marco said, "He has the potential to win Grand Prix. That is, after all, our ambition in the junior program. World champion, so many things have to fit together. There has to be another level more from the driver as an overall personality, because in a critical situation, the driver can lift the whole team up or pull it along or bring it down." So, where do these situations leave the other drivers in this silly season? Mixed chances are either to join Williams or remain in Haas, as the American team will monitor his performance until the Mexican GP and will decide whether they'll offer him a seat for the 2023 season. Ricciardo's chances are similar to Mick's, and if he doesn't choose any of the two available spots right now, he'll likely have to settle with the reserve driver role in Mercedes. De Vries' move to Alphatauri has settled two drivers' seat in just one move, as Gasly is likely to go to Alpine and finally be able to prove that he can win more races, or at least be present on the podium multiple times. Only time will tell how he and Ocon will behave on the track, but it's almost certain the chemistry between them will have to be worked out now that they're likely going to be teammates for a longer period of time. So, what do you think about Gasly and Alpine? Do you think that it's a done deal? Let us know in the comments below.